to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured. Brown goes inside. Oh, what a slam from Jaylen Brown. Oh, Pritchard banks in the three at the buzzer. Great in and out dribble. Oh, he set off the smoke detector.
Well, we knew this was going to happen eventually. The question was when, and we got our answer. What's up, everyone, and welcome in to your Celtics source, home of your Boston Celtics, who are officially under the second apron. Jrue Holiday headed to the Portland Trail Blazers, and just about 3 hours ago, Kristaps Porzingis sent to the Atlanta Hawks. Very different outcomes on these trades. We're going to get into all of that, but first, I do want to start with a quick wrap-up on the 2025 NBA season and OKC winning the NBA Finals in 7 games.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that? How do you feel about that?
The way Tyrese Haliburton was playing, I actually thought that the Pacers were going to win that game because when Tyrese Haliburton gets off to a good start, the Pacers are near unbeatable.
Yeah. I feel a little bit like the Thunder stole a championship. I'm not saying they didn't earn it. They didn't have a great season. It feels like they stole a little. Just to me.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hats off. Hats off. You know, I will have you revisit. If you remember the trade for Shea, do you know? I mean, you want to talk about one of the all-time great fleecings in the history of sports? To get Paul George for Shea and 5 first-round picks and 2 exchanges. I think they maybe threw in a firstborn. I mean, what a trade. What a trade.
Yeah. And, the sad part about it is they're all young. The way this team is built, you're not going to be able to keep all the veteran guys around this core. But if you sign your core and then every year or every couple of years you get new players that you could fill in around it, this core can stay competitive for a good many years.
For sure. I'm gonna congratulations to Thunder. There's no chance you repeat. There's no chance. It's not gonna happen.
Who do you have? The Rockets got better. They're the second favorites now.
Rockets got better. I just think the West is a meat grinder slaughterhouse of basketball. Like if I'm any player, I want to play in the East on any half decent team. I might even put some money on the Pistons to make the Eastern Conference Finals or something. You never know, right?
They might be the favorites now in the East because Halliburton's going to be out next season full just because of when the injury is in the finals. So
Tatum's out, Halliburton's out, Lillard's out. Anyway, I hats off to the Thunder. Enjoy it because as we in Boston know, they're far and few between, even for great teams. So
yeah, I mean, it's funny enough, all the 3 players that got injured or tore their Achilles in the playoffs, they all wore number 0. Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Haliburton.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a small sample size. I do wonder if guys keep tearing their Achilles, if maybe this is just a freak ballooning, but our change is going to have to be made. I don't know what, but
they're thinking about making it a 60-game season instead of 82, so more spread out between games.
The problem with that is
it's sort of you just did sign a $11 billion media deal, so
it's why we have 162 games of baseball when we should have 80.
Yeah, so. I mean, you also have the fact that you sort of feel you understand why there are so many stars sitting out every game these days, right? It's just any incident, any little thing out of the blue, you could be out for months. right? And you know,
I mean, that's true in all sports, but it does. Yeah, I feel like guys are on the floor more than they ever have been in basketball. Like
mhm,
if you watch the Celtics in let's say the 80s, you didn't see guys hitting the parquet every play, right?
I think it's the pace of play. Everyone's sprinting up full court, uh, right, lunging for balls. That's how you tear your Achilles. You sort of lean forward and your ankle pops or whatever.
Yeah.
So that,
Oh yeah, it's that's unfortunate, but you gotta that's part of winning. You gotta stay healthy. I do think a healthy, and we've seen this in the Celtics too, with a twisted ankle by Tatum or a torn Achilles, but like if Halliburton's healthy, oh, I think it goes to the buzzer and Big Poppy comes in with the Pacers by 2 call. I think that could have happened. I think it
yeah,
could have happened.
I think so. I think the way Tyrese Halliburton was going, he would have had a huge game. It would have been close. Who knows? But definitely would not have been that third quarter blowout that we saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, Hang on one second. I just got to grab my sweater because Brad Stevens is so busy fleecing everybody that they're selling Celtic sweaters now
yeah.
uh,
Um,
with all the
so
yarn he's spinning.
that was truly terrible. Think
Hey,
of a better
hey,
joke
if
there.
you like dad jokes, if you like dad jokes, and I know nobody who watches this does, give me a thumbs up in the comments because I'm doing my best. Doing my best.
Which one do you want? We'll get into the trades here. Which one do you want to start with? Because
Well,
two very different outcomes. One, I think, is a Brad Stevens fleecing. The other one, I actually think is a move from ownership. Which one do you want to start with?
well, I actually want to start here, which is we talked a lot about, and other top level pundits like us talked a lot about um, what was going to happen, who was going to move, were they going to look at a Brown trade, this, that, and the other. And in the end, they did exactly what the most common sense, straightforward default thing was. They moved the two guys that everybody knew they were going to move. They didn't. Now they may still have more to come, but they didn't go crazy, fancy, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think they're done yet. We'll talk about that, but
They're not done yet.
I don't think any of these teams were on the list though of teams that we thought were going to be where these players were going to be headed. They kind of came out of the blue. Um,
Yeah, I mean the Nets were always talked about as a potential trade, but they were just a three-way trade. So let's start. Let's go in order, chronological order. Let's start with Dr. Holiday.
but I think Jrue Holiday, he was the first one to go. We all knew that, right? Jrue Holiday came out today, was very upset that he got traded to this team. Um, I think we often forget that this team, they're in the Western Conference, so they're probably not contending, but they were above 500 to finish the regular season. They had a great finish to the season, and maybe a Holiday could help them, improve that, but they're not anywhere close to the top teams in contending. And Holiday, rightfully so, at the end of his career, you know, didn't get any leverage in this. You would think that
He doesn't want it.
ideally,
Yeah,
ideally
he's
you
done
would move
playing
him
cleanup on Portland.
exactly.
But it could and look, that's one of the sports is a business. And
Yeah,
people can be happy, they can be upset, they can be Rafi, they can be Drew, they get paid a lot of
here's
money.
yeah,
But I understand. I will say
here's
Well, I just say the Portland team, they don't suck. Like, I mean, they're not going to contend, and that's probably a bummer if Holiday doesn't get moved again in another year or two. He probably doesn't have a shot at another title. He has one, too. Um, but that Portland team is going to be fun to watch. They've got talent. They're young. You're another young, good team to watch.
Yeah, I think because his contract, there's still 3 more years on it. Uh, he didn't get leverage because you see Kevin Durant, because he's a free agent by the next year, he can pick basically where to go because you're not going to sign a guy if you're just going to have him go to free agent right away next
Well,
year. So Kevin Durant knows I want to go somewhere, and the team knows that if I'm going to trade for Kevin Durant, then I want to be able to sign him and have him be happy here.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how many more years Kevin Durant has, but also Drew Holiday is not Kevin Durant. Even, I mean, you
No,
know, Kevin Durant is
yeah,
a for sure Hall of Fame pre-ballot,
greatest scorer of all time.
Maybe, yeah. He's up there for sure in that conversation. Jrue Holiday is just an incredible, great, you know, NBA player and probably won't ever make the Hall of Fame, like just candidly.
Yeah, we talk about the return here for Holiday, right? They
Yeah.
get Anfernee Simons and I think two second round picks. Second
Yep.
round picks, nobody cares about. You get the every once in a while, you get the Jokic, you get the who is it, Lou Dort or no, Jalen Williams from this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
But most of the time, they don't turn out. So they're not. They're basically back end. Maybe your 12 through 15 guys you need to fill out the roster. But we don't really think about second round picks when we're doing a trade like this, right? You get Anfernee Simons back. Anfernee Simons, right? He averaged 19 points a game in Portland, along with 3 rebounds and 5 assists, right? On around 42% shooting or whatever. So,
38.
was it 38? I saw 42
38 from
overall,
three. 38
38
from
from
three.
three, which is pretty good on a high efficient. Yeah, I mean, right? He takes, you know, 10 threes a game or whatever, makes
Nine. Yeah.
9 threes, makes four of them a game. So
Yeah.
like that's basically what Jason Tatum is shooting, but it's his specialty, right? So he's not doesn't have the other stuff, and so he's more focused on that. It'll probably be more efficient than a Jason Tatum, but he's not a catch and shoot guy. He was the
Right.
main guy in Portland. He does it all with the ball in his hand, which is why I wonder if this is not a good culture fit for him because he's not going to have the ball in his hands. You don't want him to have the ball in his hands, especially with Derek White still on the team. Uh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he's a good player. Obviously, we haven't seen him play much, just candidly, right? We know that. He's not a 20-point player in Boston. He may be a 20-point game player in Portland. I would not be surprised if he was gone before the season started.
yeah,
Like, I
he
think
might
he's
be.
a good player that you might package him up with whoever else, and Stevens keeps wheeling and dealing, and he ends up on the Nets, or he ends up on the Magic or something. I'm not sure.
Magic could definitely use a guy like this,
Yep.
even with Desmond Bain coming, right? Like,
Yep. Yep.
but we do know he's coming from Portland, a franchise that is not, I would say, at the top of the list on defense. And Anthony Simmons is a uh, outcome of that kind of,
He is not an elite defender,
to say the least. No, he was
but he's not that old, so you
no.
can see he can improve that if he wants to. We'll see. Because, well, I was just gonna say, one of the things is when there's less pressure on you to be the scorer, maybe you're able to bring your defense up from a C to a B, or a B to an A minus or
Yeah,
something, right? Because it's like hard to be the number one defender and the number one scorer on a team.
yeah. There are still ways to hide him with this team, right? You could still hide him a little bit on offense.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm wondering if they keep Anthony Simmons, right? We were all thinking that Peyton Pritchard was probably going to be a starter next year. Um, the one game he started this year, ironically, was against Portland, where he didn't have a great game. I'm not taking much into that,
No.
but I wonder if he stays on the team, does Pritchard continue to come off the bench,
Um,
or do you reward Pritchard for what he's done here in Boston?
I don't I don't think he stays. I mean, like, if you're man, like, because what's his he's still like a pretty decent number against the salary cap, right? Like, he makes real money.
Yes, but we are under the salary cap
No,
officially.
I understand, but if you're looking for more flexibility, like, would you rather play him, or would you rather give Shireman minutes or something like that, right? Like,
Fair
who's
enough.
dirt cheap? Like, I just feel like you're probably better with Simmons, but like, if you're really about building for the future, you want to see what you got with Shireman and how many minutes can he get, and actually see can he improve the way Pritchard has, right? So I just don't see it.
I'm also worried about if you keep Simmons and you get rid of other guys, does Jason Tatum come back and he's like, this is not a championship team and he wants out, which is what you don't want that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, as long as he's got Brown White, some of those guys. I feel like the core is there. And he feels like the kind of guy that's never going to want out of Boston. Now, you never say never. You never thought Giannis would want out of Milwaukee kind of thing. And it's not really clear if he does, but like Jason feels like a pretty big homer to Boston. So we'll see.
I think it's different when you are an international player and you come to the US for the first time or whatever, and the team is the first team you go to, right?
Yeah.
To the US, it's sort of like your new home.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're already in the US, you feel like you can go wherever and you don't feel so big on leaving a city behind or a fan base.
Yeah. That may be, but I also feel like, and again, we neither of us have been drafted to a major league sports team yet. Right. But I feel like, when you get drafted to a team, unless you're like, I hate those guys and I never, whatever, like that's your team. You're like, these guys drafted me, they believed in me, like, so I don't know. We'll see. I'm more curious, and we can talk about the Porzingis move, but this was the obvious stuff. I want to see what happens next, which is, the deep cut.
Yeah, I think right there's still offers out there for White and Brown. I don't know if the Celtics will go after that, right? You're already under the salary cap. You might make some moves around the edges, but why bother trying to shake this up team anymore when you've already basically gotten what you needed to do to basically keep as much together and
Yeah. Well, I think the one question is, again, if you're thinking a couple moves ahead, which I think Stevens does, and I think most good managers do, right? Then the question is, what are the pieces I'm putting together now to get the right players for a year from now, right? For the run after this, which I have to believe is what they're thinking about. Like, not that they don't want to contend this year, but it's sort of maybe it's sort of like the Red Sox this year, which has not gone according to plan. But hear me out. The notion of like we're going to be competitive this year. We're going to bring in enough talent. We think we can make the ALCS. Maybe we go, run wild. Like I don't think they ever thought they were going to really win the World Series with this team, but it was about bringing up the kids and blah blah blah. Now, fine, it hasn't panned out, but they're thinking, I think, 2 years ahead, or God willing, they're thinking somewhere in the future ahead. It's not clear anymore, but you get my point. I think that's how Stevens is thinking with ownership.
yeah. I think we could move on to the other. Anything else you want to say about this
Oh,
trade?
what do you think? You would tell me your thoughts.
I think that you know you traded Holiday away to get under the contract, and you got as much back as you were gonna get back, right? You got a clear offensive player that can be productive, right? He is not a slump by any means, right?
No,
No matter what team he was on, he is definitely a guy that even if he comes off the bench or you trade somewhere else, you can get stuff back for him,
he's an NBA player, no question, no question.
right? The other side of this, the Porzingis trade, is a very different scenario. That I think that trade was a direct trade decision from ownership because
Yes,
Porzingis could walk at the end of the year, and you get nothing back, but you lose the money. You get Georgios Niang, who is basically a nothing to this team, real at this point,
yeah,
right? He is a deep, a bench guy, but he plays the same job as Pritchard or Hauser. You don't need that kind of player. Basically a nothing, and
yeah.
you make this trade. So this is why I'm thinking ownership said you have to get below the apron before the start of the season this coming year, not after the season, not during the season.
Yeah.
Before the season, we need to be under the apron.
Well, I also think, particularly with Porzingis, I mean, I think that the market for Holiday was good. It just was the contract was a lot, but if you can get through the contract, like great player. Porzingis, you don't know what you're going to get. Like, how many games is he going to play?
And it wasn't even an injury thing this year. It was just the sickness that
Well, there
nobody.
was an injury to start, and then there
Yes,
was,
but the fact that the team doctors haven't been able to figure out, his private doctors haven't been able to figure out, is very concerning for teams. Why,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. But even if he's healthy, I don't think you're getting a huge return because you just never know when he's going to go down.
you could get a little bit more back if you tried to eat some of the contract, right? You did try to give the whole thing away. But obviously the Celtics were not looking to do that, which, I guess is a little
Yeah,
hurtful to fans that, why make this trade for nothing when you could have him this season? If he's on the team and playing great, it's a huge boost for this team. And
Well, I mean, again, one of the great ironies of sports is like, oh, that guy's not worth it. We shouldn't pay him that much. Like, well, we're not paying him anything. It's not our money, right? But I think the idea of giving, we want to win and giving the flexibility. Like if you don't get under the apron, you can't make the moves you need to make at some point. So, like, I just feel like he was. I love Kristaps. He's a great player, and he helped us win a championship. I'm not sure we win without him here that season, but it's
there's
time to move.
so mixed feelings on him because at one point, right, he was so great in the 2 games he played in the NBA Finals, and at another hand, he just doesn't show up when you need him for a couple games, right? We could have used him in New York this year, just unavailable.
I mean, I don't
Liability.
actually hold that against him because something's clearly wrong with him, right? Like, and like, I think, when you're that big, I think you see it all over the place. You just have weird health problems, right? When you're that big, like Chet Holmgren is, we'll see how long he lasts in this league. I wouldn't be surprised if he was
Wemby's already
done by
gone
30.
down 2 years. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
wouldn't be
Chet,
surprised if he played, he signed one more big contract when he comes up for it, sort of, gets a couple $100 million and that's it. Right. Kind of like Porzingis.
yeah, well, I mean, right, Chet actually sat his first year because he came off of an injury coming out of college,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Torn ACL or something.
yeah, Sam Presti made him sit the first year. I think he could have played the last
No, he
couple.
was injured. He
He
couldn't
was
play.
into the full
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Uh,
Full season. Maybe he could have come back at the very end, but they're like, what's the point? So yeah, anyway, listen, we wish him well. And, it's got to be hard leaving a team of Boston where you're kind of like, I think it's really is family. And I think people really are
mhm.
close. And by the way, like
He was such a crowd favorite.
you're playing to win. You're playing to
Yeah.
win. And now who wants to
Mm.
be the star of the Charlotte Hornets?
There's one more thing we haven't talked about this trade.
What is it?
What the hell are the Nets doing? What the hell are we doing here for the Nets? Why would you get involved in trades like these? You have basically full control, you have command, you have basically your will to do whatever you want, and you decide just to take money for no reason.
Um, yeah, I don't have a good answer for that.
What are we? Why are we helping out other teams right now? That's
Well,
your owner.
we're not the
I know.
Nets, but
If you're the Nets, right, you're not spending on a big guy anyway. Nobody wants to come here at that moment because you have nothing else around them.
yeah.
Uh, and you're just deciding to help other teams out just out of the kindness of your heart. So
Oh, I don't think that's it.
thank you very much. But
Yeah. Well, I can well, I'm not what exactly did they took some of the salary and I can't remember what they did. You're on mute.
they took a couple picks and some salary from the Hawks that they had to offload to get Porzingis.
I see.
How you know? Well, I know this is not a Atlanta Hawks show, but how could Kristaps Porzingis, a healthy Kristaps Porzingis, a Trae Young, how could that work out for the Hawks?
I mean, it's got potential. I don't think it will work out because I think Trey Young is
Trae Young,
kind of
not that
overrated.
kind of yeah.
Yeah, but
He
you could see those guys doing pick and roll. You could see Porzingis if a healthy Porzingis changes that team because a lot more open looks from the outside. If he's scoring 18, 20 points a game, a lot less pressure on Trey Young to score, every basket. Maybe he'll get a good haircut even. So, it's just I think it could change the game, but an unhealthy Porzingis is no help at all.
quickly while we're on overrated guards that struggle on defense, Lamelo Ball was rumored to maybe get traded this offseason. He's probably even worse than Trae Young in that case. He's probably a little bit better offensively, but the defense and really the effort. At least Trae Young, he tries a little bit when it matters. Trae
He
Young,
hustles a little bit when it matters. Yeah.
yeah, Lamelo looks like he's just throwing up full court lobs and goofing off.
Yeah. It's a little bit of backyard ball with him, which is kind of fun, but
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on that. I think things are about to go fast. And I think that's why Brad Stevens moved quickly. He's like, I can't take any chances that the market disappears or like, could we get a slightly better package? Maybe, but we got to lock this up and go.
Yeah, that's also one of the reasons why they decided to go with Porzingis now, right? If he gets injured during the season or during summer league this year or this summer, right, in Europe, then that immediately goes away and you get nothing. No team is willing to do anything. So like while you're ahead, even though it's not a great return, you do get the salary dump. We after two moves that we expected to happen, you get under the salary, and you know we'll probably see a couple other moves, but at least as Celtics fans, we know that nothing out of the expected happened. Right, the two moves we all expected that we were preparing for as fans happened, and the team is, at least in the Eastern Conference, is arguably still contend.
Yeah. Yeah. I Yeah, we'll see what else is in store. I'm curious. I think there are a bunch more moves coming. I just don't know what they are yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, what
But
other thoughts do you have there? Anything else?
yeah, we'll be live probably Friday or Saturday reacting to the draft, and not just the Celtics, but obviously Cooper Fly is probably going to go number one and see whatever their moves. I haven't been following the college players too closely. Over the next couple of days, I'm going to look into a little bit more of that, see who the Celtics are going to draft. It's probably going to be, maybe they'll probably keep one. They'll probably keep the guy that they draft first round. Over the last couple of years, they've basically just gotten rid of their second round because he's just hasn't even made it out of spring training. Um, so
Yeah. I
like,
mean, I do think Stevens is a good eye for talent. We've talked about that. I wonder, can you package up a bunch of those second round picks for a 28 or a 30 pick? Maybe, right?
yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard because I don't think it doesn't really matter if you get one first round pick versus 8 second round picks. Those 8 second round picks are probably not playing anyway. So like,
Well, I'm not sure. It depends where it is in the first round. If you can get a top 10 pick, for sure, that's where you want to
sure,
go.
yeah,
No question. Even top 12. But if you actually can get 5, 6 second round picks in a draft, you can get a whole bunch of guys and be like, we think one of these guys
fair
can
enough.
be the ninth guy on the bench or eighth guy on the bench, right? So you don't have to you're like, yeah, we're gonna take him and him and him and him and him.
It's I really don't like the way that the draft is set up, especially because why is OKC getting a 10th, 15th pick overall or whatever like this year? Like it should just be wherever you finish in the season, that is your pick. And if you trade that pick, then you don't draft this year. That's really just how it should be. You get a set pick based on how you finish the season, and then if that chick is traded to some other team based on prior
Well,
trades or
this
whatever,
could be a good research project for you because that's how it used to be. So you can research the evolution and the changing of the draft strategy.
it's
Um, I mean, I
because
do
teams
think,
are still taken, and the Utah Jazz have been taken for 25 years straight, and they haven't gotten a lottery pick in a long time.
yeah. I mean, I do think again, when you look at competitive balance, it's hard to find a league that has this many diverse winners
Yeah, I
over
mean,
the last decade. I mean, it really is. Now that said, if I'm Adam Silver and I'm running the NBA, I really don't want to see Pacers Oklahoma City again. It's got to be one of the lowest
oh yeah,
rated series.
yeah.
Like you got to have a big market team in
I
there
mean,
if
it
you want.
was an incredible series, but like,
But nobody watched it.
who knew? Who knows? If you weren't watching that, you have no idea. It was probably one of the best series in the last 10, 15 years, maybe since the LeBron Warriors series or whatever, the
Yeah,
Cavs Warriors series.
it was good basketball. It was good basketball.
Yes. No, first game seven since the I think 17, 18 Warriors
Yeah,
versus
I think
Cavs.
that's right.
Yeah, so yeah. But yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Obviously we'll be live Friday, maybe Saturday. I haven't figured that out yet. Depending on how the draft goes. And obviously with any news this summer, there'll be more. I'm telling you that right now. Don't close your eyes into your quite yet. There'll be more. I don't know if any of the guys we've gotten back in these last 2 trades are going to stay on this team even another week. They might be gone. By the time we're finished this video, I'm not looking now. There could be another trade out there right now. So, that's how the NBA works. So, until next time, follow on social media and go Celtics.
Go Celtics.
It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18.